Chapter 1: The Quiet Village. In the heart of a lush countryside, where emerald fields stretched as far as the eye could see and the scent of wildflowers danced on the breeze, there nestled a quaint little village known as Serenity Vale. It was a place of tranquility and peace, where time seemed to move a little slower, and the worries of the outside world faded away into the distant horizon. The villagers of Serenity Vale were a close-knit community, bound together by a shared love for their idyllic home. Each morning, as the sun cast its golden rays upon the sleepy village, the inhabitants would emerge from their cozy cottages, greeting one another with warm smiles and gentle nods. Life in Serenity Vale was simple yet fulfilling. The days were spent tending to fields of swaying wheat, gathering fruits from orchards bursting with ripeness, and sharing hearty meals with friends and family. Children laughed and played in the meadows, their voices floating like delicate melodies through the crisp morning air. But amidst the beauty and tranquility of Serenity Vale, there was one peculiar characteristic that set it apart from other villages: its remarkable silence. From dawn till dusk, the village was enveloped in a serene hush, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the soft chirping of birds. No one knew exactly why Serenity Vale was so quiet. Some whispered that it was the magic of the land itself, while others believed it was the result of generations of peaceful living. Whatever the reason, the villagers had grown accustomed to the quietude, finding solace in its gentle embrace. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars painted the sky with their twinkling light, the villagers of Serenity Vale would gather in the town square, where a crackling bonfire illuminated their faces with a warm glow. They would share stories and laughter, their voices soft and melodic, blending harmoniously with the tranquil night. And so, wrapped in the quiet embrace of their beloved village, the inhabitants of Serenity Vale lived each day in peaceful contentment, grateful for the simple joys that filled their lives and the serenity that bound them together as one. Chapter 2: The Mysterious Noise. In the heart of the serene village of Serenity Vale, where the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft chirping of birds were the only sounds that broke the tranquil silence, there came a day unlike any other. It began like any other morning, with the villagers emerging from their quaint cottages to greet the dawn with smiles upon their faces and a sense of peace in their hearts. But as the sun rose higher in the sky, casting its golden rays upon the village, a strange and unsettling noise echoed through the air. It was a sound unlike anything the villagers had ever heard before, a cacophony of clanks, bangs, and whirs that shattered the tranquil silence of Serenity Vale. The villagers exchanged puzzled glances, their brows furrowed in confusion as they tried to discern the source of the mysterious noise. They followed its trail through the winding streets of the village, their footsteps echoing against the cobblestones as they drew closer to the source. And there, at the edge of the village, they discovered the most peculiar sight: a curious contraption, its gears spinning and pistons pumping as it emitted a symphony of sounds that seemed to defy logic and reason. Standing beside the contraption was a figure clad in grease-stained overalls, his face alight with excitement and determination. The villagers approached cautiously, their curiosity piqued by the strange contraption and the man who had brought it to their peaceful village. They soon learned that the man's name was Ezekiel, an eccentric inventor who had traveled from a distant land in search of inspiration. Ezekiel explained that he had spent months toiling away in his workshop, driven by a burning desire to create something extraordinary. And now, at long last, his efforts had borne fruit in the form of his latest invention, a fantastical machine designed to perform tasks beyond the realm of human capability. But as Ezekiel proudly demonstrated his invention to the villagers, it quickly became apparent that his creation was causing quite a stir in Serenity Vale. The noise it produced was disruptive and unsettling, disrupting the peaceful harmony of the village and leaving its inhabitants feeling unsettled and distressed. Despite his best intentions, Ezekiel's invention had inadvertently brought chaos to the tranquil village of Serenity Vale. And as the villagers pondered what to do about the mysterious noise that now plagued their once peaceful home, they realized that they would need to work together to find a solution to this most perplexing problem. Chapter 3: Wilbur's Invention. As the curious contraption of Ezekiel continued to disrupt the peaceful serenity of Serenity Vale, the villagers found themselves in a state of perplexity. They exchanged concerned glances and whispered amongst themselves, unsure of how to address the unsettling noise that now echoed through their once tranquil village. But amidst the confusion and uncertainty, there emerged a figure whose presence would soon become synonymous with both chaos and camaraderie, a bumbling inventor by the name of Wilbur. Wilbur was not like other villagers of Serenity Vale. He possessed an insatiable curiosity and an unyielding passion for tinkering with machines and contraptions of all shapes and sizes. It was said that his workshop was filled to the brim with gadgets and gizmos, each more bizarre and bewildering than the last. And so, when Wilbur caught wind of the commotion caused by Ezekiel's invention, he saw it as an opportunity to showcase his own ingenuity and perhaps even lend a helping hand to his fellow villagers. With a twinkle in his eye and a skip in his step, Wilbur set to work on his latest creation, a contraption of his own design that he believed would rival even the most fantastical inventions of Ezekiel. Day and night, Wilbur toiled away in his workshop, his brow furrowed in concentration as he soldered wires, twisted gears, and hammered away at his creation. The villagers watched with bated breath, eager to see what marvels Wilbur's invention would unveil. And finally, after countless hours of tireless effort, Wilbur emerged from his workshop, his invention cradled in his arms like a newborn babe. The villagers gathered around, their eyes wide with anticipation as Wilbur unveiled his creation for all to see. To their astonishment, Wilbur's invention was unlike anything they had ever seen before, a magnificent contraption that towered over them like a towering colossus, its gears whirring and pistons pumping as it emitted a cacophony of clicks, clanks, and whirs. The villagers marveled at the spectacle before them, their hearts filled with awe and admiration for Wilbur's boundless creativity and ingenuity. And though the noise produced by Wilbur's invention was just as disruptive as that of Ezekiel's, the villagers couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in their fellow villagers' accomplishment. But as the days passed and the novelty of Wilbur's invention began to wear thin, the villagers soon realized that they would need to find a way to rein in the cacophony of noise that now filled their once peaceful village. And so, they set out on a quest to help Wilbur silence his invention and restore Serenity Vale to its former tranquility. Chapter 4: The Quest for Quiet. Determined to restore the peaceful tranquility of Serenity Vale, the villagers embarked on a quest unlike any they had ever undertaken before, a quest for quiet. Armed with determination and boundless creativity, they set out to help Wilbur silence his cacophonous invention and bring harmony back to their beloved village. The villagers gathered in the town square, their heads bent together in earnest discussion as they brainstormed ideas and strategies to tackle the noisy contraption that now dominated their once quiet village. Some suggested muffling the gears and dampening the sounds with thick layers of padding, while others proposed dismantling the contraption altogether and starting from scratch. But Wilbur, ever the optimist, was determined to find a solution that would allow him to keep his invention intact while still restoring peace to Serenity Vale. And so, with the help of his fellow villagers, he set out to explore every avenue and exhaust every possibility until a solution could be found. They conducted experiments and performed tests, tinkering with gears and adjusting settings in an attempt to quiet the noisy contraption that now loomed over the village like a noisy sentinel. They enlisted the help of local craftsmen and artisans, who lent their expertise and offered invaluable advice in their quest for silence. But no matter what they tried, Wilbur's invention continued to emit a deafening cacophony of noise that seemed to reverberate through the very foundations of Serenity Vale. The villagers grew frustrated and disheartened, their spirits dampened by the seemingly insurmountable challenge that lay before them. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, a small voice piped up from the back of the crowd, a mischievous squirrel by the name of Squeaky, who had been eavesdropping on the villagers' discussions from the safety of a nearby tree. Squeaky had a reputation for being something of a troublemaker, but beneath his cheeky exterior lay a keen intellect and a heart of gold. And as he listened to the villagers' plight, an idea began to form in his furry little head, an idea that just might hold the key to silencing Wilbur's noisy invention once and for all. With a mischievous twinkle in his eye, Squeaky leaped from his perch and scampered over to where Wilbur and the other villagers were gathered. He chattered excitedly, his tiny voice barely audible above the din of the noisy contraption, as he outlined his plan to bring peace and quiet back to Serenity Vale. The villagers listened with rapt attention as Squeaky explained his ingenious plan, their faces lighting up with hope and excitement as they realized that a solution was finally within reach. And with renewed determination, they set out to put Squeaky's plan into action, confident that together they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. Chapter 5: The Great Silence. With Squeaky's ingenious plan in hand, the villagers of Serenity Vale set to work with renewed vigor, their determination to restore peace and quiet to their beloved village stronger than ever before. They worked tirelessly, pooling their resources and talents as they embarked on what would soon become known as the Great Silence. Under the guidance of Wilbur and Squeaky, the villagers began to implement their plan with precision and care. They gathered materials from far and wide, scouring the countryside for anything that might help them in their quest to silence Wilbur's noisy invention. Day by day, the contraption was dismantled and reassembled, its gears and pistons modified and adjusted until they hummed with a quiet efficiency that was a far cry from the cacophony of noise that had once filled the village. The villagers worked together, their hands moving in perfect harmony as they labored to bring peace back to Serenity Vale. But the road to silence was not an easy one, and the villagers encountered many challenges along the way. There were moments of frustration and setbacks, as they struggled to overcome the intricate mechanisms of Wilbur's invention and find a way to quiet its noisy clamor. Yet through it all, the villagers persevered, their spirits undaunted by the obstacles that lay before them. They drew strength from one another, their bonds of friendship and camaraderie growing stronger with each passing day as they worked towards a common goal. And then, finally, after weeks of tireless effort and unwavering determination, the moment they had all been waiting for arrived. With a final twist of a wrench and a gentle click of a lever, Wilbur's invention sprang to life, but this time, instead of emitting a cacophony of noise, it hummed with a quiet serenity that filled the air with a sense of peace and tranquility. The villagers cheered and applauded, their hearts brimming with joy and relief as they basked in the silence that now enveloped their once noisy village. It was a moment of triumph unlike any other, a testament to the power of community and the resilience of the human spirit. From that day forward, Serenity Vale was known not only for its tranquil beauty, but also for the remarkable silence that had been restored to its streets. And as the villagers went about their daily lives, they did so with a newfound appreciation for the peace and quiet that surrounded them, a gift that they would cherish for generations to come. Chapter 6: A New Harmony. With the cacophony of noise silenced and tranquility restored to Serenity Vale, the villagers rejoiced in the newfound peace that enveloped their beloved village. But as they celebrated their victory, they soon discovered that the quest for quiet had brought about more than just the absence of noise. It had forged a new harmony among them, one that would forever bind them together as a community. The bonds of friendship and camaraderie that had been strengthened during the Great Silence now blossomed into something even greater, as the villagers came together to revel in the tranquility that surrounded them. They gathered in the town square, sharing stories and laughter as they basked in the quiet serenity of their once noisy village. Wilbur, the eccentric inventor whose noisy contraption had sparked the quest for quiet, found himself embraced by his fellow villagers in a way he had never imagined possible. No longer seen as a disruptor of peace, he was now hailed as a hero, a visionary whose ingenuity had led to the restoration of harmony in Serenity Vale. And Squeaky, the mischievous squirrel whose clever plan had helped silence Wilbur's invention, became a beloved mascot of the village, his tiny antics bringing joy and laughter to all who crossed his path. But perhaps the greatest testament to the new harmony that had been forged in Serenity Vale was the way in which the villagers came together to support one another in times of need. No longer bound by the constraints of silence, they found their voices and used them to lift each other up, offering a helping hand and a listening ear to those who needed it most. The village flourished under this new spirit of unity and cooperation, its streets bustling with activity as the villagers worked together to build a brighter future for themselves and their community. Gardens flourished, fields thrived, and laughter once again echoed through the meadows, filling the air with a sense of joy and contentment that could be felt by all who called Serenity Vale home. And as the years passed and the seasons changed, the village continued to thrive, its inhabitants living in perfect harmony with one another and the world around them. For in Serenity Vale, the quest for quiet had not only brought about a newfound peace, it had ushered in a new era of unity, cooperation, and love that would endure for generations to come.